Hello, welcome back to the Be It Till You See It podcast. Today I have Jenn Pike for you. Oh, this interview is juicy. It's juicy. I mean, it is such good stuff. You are going to want to re-listen to it. You're going to take notes. Ladies, this one is for you. And if you've got men in your life, I definitely agree with her, what she said at the end. We want to have more men aware and educated at this because it destigmatizes periods and cycles and hormones in women. And basically I'm giving away what the interview is about. But Jenn Pike is a functional nutritionist and medical exercise specialist. She is a wealth of knowledge. She has been doing this for over 20 years. And basically, y'all, I know that sometimes you are like, I'm going to take on this day. I'm so excited. I love where my goals are going. I love where this vision, I love what I'm wanting. Like, you love it. I know you do. And then you feel like you can't do it. And you think it's in your head, or you think you need to take another course, or you think you need to learn more about this. You got to read this book. And the truth is, it probably is what's going on in your hormones, what's going on in your cycle, what's going on in your body. And so she comes in and she is going to educate you and empower you. And her tips for how you can be it till you see it at the end. I'm not kidding. They're award worthy, really, if we were doing that, which we are not. We're not. Anyways, I can't wait for you to listen to this entire conversation. Check out how you can follow Jenn and all the programs she's got going on that will literally help you be it till you see it, but also become aware and educated in what your body needs, what's optimal for you. And that's why I wanted to have her on. And so check out this interview. Here it comes right after this message. Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. All right, welcome back to Be It Till You See It. I am so freaking stoked about today's interview. Y'all, okay, I'm just going to be really, I'm going to tell you what I did. I heard Jenn Pike on my friend, Coach Jenny's podcast for Find Your Strong. And I literally finished the interview and was DMing her like, I want you on my podcast. It was a total, not even hi, you're so awesome. I was like, hi, you're amazing. And here's what I want to do. I love all the things that you said so much. And I want to get that out to all of the people who listen, my Pilates clients and my coaching clients. And so luckily she didn't go, wow, Lesley, you're weird. She said, oh, that'd be great. I can do these things. I'm just really busy right now. And I was like, that's fine. So we're finally having this conversation. Jenn Pike, thank you for being here. Will you take a minute to tell everyone who you are, where you're from, and what you're up to?
Well, thank you, first of all, for reaching out and having me on here. So my name is Jenn Pike. I'm a functional diagnostic nutritionist and medical exercise specialist, and I'm the founder of the Hormone Project. So I really help women understand what they, in my opinion, should have known about their bodies from as young as, being a young girl before going into puberty. And I meet women exactly where they are now on this journey of their health and their body and help them to understand the signs and the symptoms and the stories that their bodies are telling them, how to decode what it is that's going on, and really empower them to know how to take care of their health, how to take care of their body, how to be an advocate for themselves, and to do it in a way where, it's feeding back into their own vitality and vibrancy, and to be so connected to the body that they have.
I mean, when I heard you say that, the teaching women what they should have already known, it is so crazy what we are not told about our bodies, and also because we trust our doctors and and what they say, and so we're like, okay, yeah, we'll do this, and then you find out later on, actually, you're not that wasn't the best thing for you, or at least maybe it was, but there wasn't other information given to you about how that's going to affect your body. So, Can you Can you share like a little bit, like what made you want to do this? Like, I don't know that you grow up going, one day I'm going to like teach women about their bodies. Like, what was it that got you really interested in this?
So mine kind of was like that a little bit. When I look back, like I've always been very much involved in fitness and athletics. My dad took me into my first gym experience with him when I was 6, not to work out, but seeing him move and do that. And my mom would go out, jazzercise class with the ladies in the neighborhood. And so I just always grew up with that being like a very normal thing. My older sister's 12 years older, and she was always doing like, workout videos, like Cher's workout video or whoever it was. And all of that. And so I just was very curious, and I always loved moving my body, and, I was active. And then when I got into high school, I was always just very aware. I was very curious as to what was happening in my own body, conversations I was having with friends, things were being taught in gym class. I was also modeling at that time for a lengthy period of time. And, in that industry, everything was about do whatever you've got to do to just be thin. It was a period of time where like, Kate Moss was the body that everyone was going, and that's not my body and my frame. And there was some struggle there. And I just kept thinking to myself, like, it shouldn't be this way. What is it that's going on? I started to realize how little information there was for those of us that had our periods and were going through that, and birth control and all of those things. And so I just kept asking more questions. I was always the person going, but why? And I would just dig deeper and ask and start to do my own research. And then I lived abroad, modeling, working for a while, came back, went to school. And that's where I started off in human anatomy, biomechanics, and physiology. And that, again, too, it was just like the human body is so insanely brilliant. And oftentimes it's us that's getting in the way of feeling our best. And it's because we haven't been properly educated. So we're not empowered to know right from wrong for us, or, what to ask the doctor, or when the doctor says, you're totally fine, and you're sitting there and are like, I'm not fine. Like I'm telling you, this isn't me. Something is out of balance or out of whack. And you get recommended to take something or whatever it might be. So many women that I work with anyways, they're still leaving those offices. They may have been told what to do, but they don't know why.
Right.
And they don't know how they can shift their lifestyle or any of that. So, it started there for me. I was working in a very strong athletic background. I was working with all athletes, majority of men when I started. Then I was working personal training, a lot of women and a lot of moms. I didn't have kids at the time then, but I still could see that we were missing something, that no matter what type of exercise and, meal plan that I was creating for them, something was missing. Yeah. I couldn't quite pinpoint their mood instability, their sleep issues, their inflammation. And I was like, I need to dig deeper, and went back to school. At that time, 20 years ago, became a holistic nutritionist. That opened it up more. Fast forward a few years later, became a mother for the first time. And then I was like, oh, whoa, this is different.
Yeah.
This is different. And then, I've just continued to stay a student, and then went back and became a functional medicine diagnostic nutritionist, and I run a lot of different testing, and it's been an evolution over decades.
I love it because so you're a total questioner and learner. Like you can tell, like you're like, I am curious about this. I'm going to go. And I think a lot of people are afraid to ask the questions, like because people are afraid of being wrong. And it's like, well, actually you don't even know if you'll be wrong. You might be asking the question that other people are having and no one's talking about.
Yeah.
And
almost always. And I would say, you bring that up, and it's such a good one, is that I'm constantly encouraging women in our programs, like, please be the brave one to ask the question, because I am telling you, if you are thinking it, so many others are. And it's when we start to voice it that other women are like, wait a second, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Like I feel that too. Tell me more.
I suffered from stomach issues for over 10 years, and going to doctors after doctors. And I had a doctor literally make me feel like I was the crazy one. And I'm like, but I have pictures. Like, this is what I look like in the morning, and this is what I look like in the evening. And they sent me to an infectious disease doctor in the hospital. And they're like, do you know why you're here? And I'm like, no, I think that he doesn't know what to do with me. So he sent me here, but now I'm a little bit panicked. Like, this is the Ebola clinic. Do you know, like, this is the...
You're in a hazmat suit. What's going on?
What is going on with my stomach? I just have a lot of bloating, and I refuse to take medication for that because that's not... I don't want to cover the symptom. Like, I didn't have this my whole life, right? So... but it was weird for me to talk about it in the beginning because it's kind of embarrassing. Like, no one wants to talk about all of that. But when I started to, what I found out is so many women were having those same problems. And I was like, I became this like advocate of figuring out what it was and finding someone who could solve my problems. And that person saved my life. And then I found a holistic doctor who I work with, whenever there's like a flare up. But I do think it's like a lot of people are afraid to ask the question because they think that they should just know it, or this is what everyone does, or we just have, this is how life is. And you said you went to this school 20 years ago. I feel like that was, and maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like that was a pretty early time to get involved in holistic nutrition.
Yeah, it was. I mean, back then, I'm 41, so I was 20 when I decided, like, I started early. I finished high school early. I did my traveling. I started, college before I was even, legal to have a drink, which I know you're in the US, but here in Canada, typically you're like 18, 19 when you go. And so when I did that, everybody around me who was looking at nutrition and health, they were going to be a dietitian, or they were going to do like kinesiology or that. And I was like, it's not that. And I had an experience with hearing somebody talk about a naturopathic doctor. And I was like, what's that? And so went and, had a first consult. And I was like, oh, this is fascinating. You are spending an hour or more with me, asking me all about like my health history, my cycle. You're looking into my eyes. You're looking at my tongue. You're like feeling my pulse. You're testing my hair. It was so much deeper than what I had ever experienced, and nothing was being rushed and like shuffled out.
Right.
And so that I came away and was like, this is my thing. This is what I want to empower women with. This is the missing link. We don't know enough.
Yeah.
How could we possibly make the best choices for ourselves when we don't even understand what it is that we're choosing? And in the doctor environment, there's wonderful doctor, there's wonderful everything, and then there's not wonderful everything. Right.
I agree. I think if anyone's listening to this was actually a doctor, like there's a lot of wonderfulness in you, and there's a lot of great reasons to have
absolutely. one. Absolutely. That being said, I think a lot of the struggle for women specifically, because women are dismissed more than men across the board, is that when you go in with an issue and they don't know how to help and support you, oftentimes you're either told you're fine, or why don't we put you on the pill, or how about an antidepressant, or you are referred out of their office to someone else who also doesn't really understand why you're there, because what's going on with you is actually quite simple things that we could be shifting if you had the right support and mechanism to know what that is. And when it comes to women in hormones or their thyroid or their gut health, so much of it peels back to what is going on that internal level of support, nutrition, lifestyle, sleep, stress, all of that. And they just don't have the time in the appointments to help somebody go through that.
Yeah, I feel like their hands get a little tied with all the different things. And and they're they're expected to know so much about so many things, but you can't go deep on any of that. So it's a little tricky.
Exactly.
Where you're
they're
like
general practitioners.
Yeah. And so, I want to chat about, because I think it's easy for people to go, well, my doctor said my levels are fine. Yeah. And if you're listening to this and you're ever like, I don't feel fine, like you're not crazy. Like you don't feel fine and it's okay. And I say this and that's one of the reasons why I was listening to Jenn on another interview. I was like, I have to talk to her because I want to bring her to you all, because my doctor said everything in my blood was fine. They said we were in a panel and you're fine. And the guy that I worked with, who is amazing, he was the person who was making the food for NASA astronauts because, they're going to be in space for however long. They have to take all of their food with them, and they can't eat the same things because everyone needs different things to run at their optimum level.
Capacity, yeah.
Right. So he left that, and then he's been working with athletes, and I got him through a friend, and he goes, first of all, he gave me a packet. It's like 276 pages, like 276 tests is what it was. It was like 30 pages. And he's like, this is a full panel. And he said, in this full panel, he's like, you are in range, in air quotes, if you can't see what I'm doing. He's like, but you're 1 point in. And here's what they do when they didn't know what range was, so they had to guess. And so it's like the Olympics. They took a bunch of people and they took off the top 2.5% and the bottom 2.5%, and they go, this is range, that's normal. But like you yourself might need to be higher to run at in something to run at the best level. And so I was telling Jen before I started recording, I was at red lights crying. Didn't know why. And I was like, I think I'm depressed. I have everything I want. I have an amazing husband. I live in the coolest place. Like I get to travel to teach. I like everything on my vision board. Check, check, check. And I was so sad and I didn't know why. And he's like, your B12 is 1 point in range. Your vitamin D is 1 point in range. You have no testosterone. Like this is happening. You have these metals in you. He's like, yeah, you're depressed. Like you can't not be. And so one of the things I wanted to ask you about is like, what are some of those levels that if people are maybe lacking confidence or lacking will or just having those energy moments, like what is it that they should be looking at, or can they ask their doctors about? Like how can we arm them? Because I feel like it's hard to have confidence or go after something if like your hormones in your body are literally saying no.
Yeah. So, I mean, you bring up a really great point in that those ranges, the lab ranges and your individual ranges are not necessarily going to be the same. And the lab ranges of like what is fine versus what's optimal, we're trying to help keep you in a place of optimal, not just okay. No one wants to feel just okay. And so you need it. I wish there was like the most simplified way to answer this, but the reality is you need to know what to ask for when you're going in. So you don't want basic blood work. You really want a full panel. You want to ask for your hormones to be tested. You want to ask for your thyroid to be tested. You want to ask for like, what do you have that you can test me on? I would like to have that tested. And then the other side of it is the testing is great, but who is going to walk you through the results? Who's going to actually turn the page around or share on the screen with you and say, okay, Lesley, these are your results. This is what's going on. This is what this actually means. This is what this could lead to. And so the hard answer for people to hear is you probably aren't going to get all of those answers in that appointment and in that doctor's appointment. You're going to have to invest outside of that. Yeah. You're going to have to pay for that care. That's the hardest thing for people to understand. And I get that. But that is where it starts, is you knowing what to ask for and then working with somebody who like, this is what they do. They can look at those numbers and in a moment, in the blink of an eye, say, look, this is what's going on here. These levels, this is why you're feeling that way. And as soon as you work with somebody who can help you understand that, you feel better right out of the gates because you're like, it is not in my head. I am not making this up. I am not like crazy. This isn't me being dramatic. And we know when something is internally off. It's everyone else around us that tells us, no, you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, because there isn't an easy answer to that, what is something who would they be Googling to find in their area? Like, depending on where they live, like, is there like a name for that? Is it somebody like you? Is it
well, yeah. So they could be looking for an FDN, which is a functional diagnostic nutritionist, a functional medical doctor. It depends where you are. Some of them might refer to themselves as an integrative practitioner, a holistic doctor. Here's what I always say to people. The first thing I'd recommend that you do is reach out to your circle and your community and say, I'm struggling with perimenopause. I'm struggling with PMS. Have any of you gone to a naturopath or a functional practitioner, like someone who's going to spend the time and do the testing and take you through it? Can you please like throw some names up here? Because as women, like we refer people to things all the time. Yeah. Buy this shirt, drink this thing, do your hair with this. So we need to start to do that at Better Health as well.
Yeah.
So that is the first thing that I would recommend, is reach out to the community. If you're like, I don't have those kind of people, Jen, like my friends don't give two hoots about their health. Like I don't have anybody who's in the same, vicinity as me, then that's when I would Google and those keywords, integrative, holistic, functional, those types of things.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Cause I think that is where, it's like easy to get confused. Like, what am I looking for?
Yes.
So, as women, we do have a cycle, and I grew up my mom's cycle was very intense, and I grew up going, oh my God, I never want that intense. Like you could just tell, like it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. Hide.
And so, I'm just wondering, like, when it comes to our hormones, and obviously, like, I grew up, and I don't know if it's like that in Canada, but like for us, it's like almost like, ugh, my period's here. Like it's like this horrible thing. And so then when I had these health problems where I didn't have a period, I was like, well, this is convenient, which is like the worst thing in the world because that actually means something is wrong. But I was just like, well, I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, there's a bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that is just ubiquitous around the world for women. I work with women globally in many different countries, many different cultural backgrounds, many different philosophies, ways they've grown up. Very rarely do I converse with a woman who's like, when I was growing up, it was such a joyous time in the house. And I was really taught about it. For most women, it's like, it was shameful. It was gross. It was hidden. It was horrible. I, dreaded every time that it was coming. And I lost days out of every month of my life because of it. That's most women's story.
Yeah. And that's the thing that, like, first of all, no one told me that in the video in the 5th grade.
Right?
That was not
This
said.
is where the problem all started. This is where it all started.
Yeah. In 5th grade, when they separated us and we watched this video, and it was like, then the boys were giggling and making fun, and the girl, and it's like, what is happening to me?
Yep.
So, is there, like, can we chat a little bit about, like, I feel like at certain times of the month, there you can like take on the world, and there are certain times of the month that you feel like you can't. Is there like is there some way we should expect to feel as far as like confidence or energy or being able to take things on?
Yeah. So we go through 4 different phases in our cycle. So our cycle and our period are not the same thing. Your cycle is from day 1 of your bleed all the way through until you have your next bleed. That's a full cycle. Most women, it's going to range anywhere from 23 to 35 days. And in that cycle, you have 4 different phases. So you have the phase that you bleed in, which is your actual period. When you come out of your period, you actually have what's referred to as the first phase, which is the follicular phase. And this is where your body, your hormones and estrogen and testosterone are starting to climb. Your uterine lining is starting to thicken again. This is typically where we actually feel more connected to our body. We do well with the estrogen surge. We feel clear, more focused, energized, happier. We're like gung-ho. We want to create new projects. We're super, on point. Leading into ovulation. Ovulation comes. It tends to be much more of a I want to put myself out there. Confidence can peak a little higher, sex drive typically. And the way I'm painting this picture, this isn't going to be for every woman. I'm just going to kind of give one example and then I'll apex it on the other side. Once ovulation happens, you've now had this dip in estrogen and testosterone and your luteinizing hormones increase. As long as you've ovulated, your progesterone also increases. And that actually is a much more calming hormone. It helps us to integrate. It brings us into a place that is much more reflective in that luteal phase, which are the couple weeks coming into your period. It's a time to really look at like what is working and what is not. It's time to finish projects. It's a time when you can feel really connected to your body. And then this is one of the times where you'll also know if things are out of balance. If that like 7 to 10 day period of time before you bleed again, your mood's all over the place, you're emotional, your sleep is off, your gut is off, you're spotting, your breasts are tender, like you're just like, oh my God, here we go again. My skin's breaking out. All the things are happening. That's a really strong indication that something is out of balance in your system. And it could be that you didn't ovulate, that you have lower progesterone, you have too much estrogen. It could be that all the hormones are sitting flat. It could be that testosterone and DHA is too high. So this is why testing at the appropriate time of the month is such a valuable tool for women, because when you see it and someone's explaining it to you, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like you just described me to a T.
Yeah. No, I'm like sitting here and I'm like taking it all in. And I like that whole part where it's like that 7-10 days before. Mm-hmm. You just said like, this is what you're going to feel like, but this is also, you could feel like where things are out of whack. And I think we're taught, or at least I felt like that's just the normal thing. Like things are out of whack. And what it sounds like is it, and I did experience this. I did seed cycling for a long time because I felt like my swings were too big. And I was like, y'all, my boobs are a little bigger because of COVID and age, but they were very small back then. And I was like, they are too small to be this tender. Like, this is not fun for me. Yeah. And so I heard about seed cycling, and I did it consistently for 3 years. Not only did I literally make myself like clockwork with my cycle, I stopped breaking out. I don't have tenderness, and I've weaned off of it, and it hasn't been an issue. But I did notice that difference in that time before. It was almost like my period was a surprise each time because I was like, oh, I didn't even know it was coming.
So good.
I was feeling so good.
Yeah.
That's so fascinating. Okay. So thank you for walking us through that. I think that, it's helpful to know, like, just when you have the information, like you said, you just can expect things a little different and you can know more about how you should be feeling as opposed to like, why do I feel like this versus yesterday I felt better.
Yeah. And it's like, it's how we should and how you could, because all of these things are going to be in flux in a woman's body all the time, not just based on, like the rhythm doesn't set itself. Your hormones are chemicals and they're chemical messengers that are gathering information and fuel from your life all the time. So the stress that you're feeling, the environment that you're living in, the amount of sleep that you get, the calendar that you live through, the job that you love or that you don't enjoy, the nutrients that are coming into your body, the inflammation you're managing, like all of those things, the age that you are at, and then our genetics, and there's so much that's involved in it. But again, we're not taught that. So when it happens to us, we isolate ourselves quietly on an island of pain and struggle and think that we're broken and something is really wrong with us, when in fact, we are not designed as women to be the same all the time. And so there's nothing wrong with you. You just need to understand when something might be kind of flowing outside of what feels normal and healthy for you. And that's when you can get some help.
Oh, this is amazing. Amazing information. I'm really excited about it because I think that, it's so easy for us to think that something outward is a problem, but we don't actually take it on like as something we could take care of. We don't see how it affects our body. We're like, this job is stressing me out, but we don't go, it's also affecting my sleep, which is affecting my digestion, or it's affecting my cycle. And so we don't see how these things that bother us are actually being internalized. And so and it sounds like our cycle is going to really be the thing that tells us the most, what is what is working for us and what is not working for us. So I want to go back to you a little bit though. What are you excited about right now? And how are you, because I saw all the different products that you do and the people that you help. How do you decide what you're doing next? Is it your curiosity that's taking you there? Or do you have this like master plan out there? What's going on?
Oh, I'd love to tell you that I'm that, organized, that I have this master plan. I'm very much, I'm a feeler, and I'm very intuitive in terms of like, this is just what is feeling like the calling right now. The Hormone Project is my baby. That is the thing I focus the most energy on. Our team has been expanding a lot because we have so many more women that are coming to us for help. And we're quite specialized in the approach that we take and how we do this. So I'm still so excited about teaching this. I never get bored of it at all. I get more excited the more women that start to understand this. I also teach an online studio, Synced, which is I base movement for the women I work with all around their cycle. So if they have a period still, then all their movement in terms of how heavy they're lifting, the modality that they're using, all the methodology is teaching them how to do it based on their own rhythms and cycles and how they feel. And for women that I work with who are menopausal or postmenopausal, it's teaching them how they can choose to, if they want to tap into the lunar cycle, the moon. And just how like we're so interwoven into all of this as women. And I give the example when people get confused about it to say, okay, think about the difference of your energy in your environment on a sunny, beautiful day versus a like dark, cold, rainy, gloomy day. You literally are the same person who went to bed at night, but the only thing that changed was your environment, and it changes the way that you show up and how you feel. And it's like if you hang out with people who are like sunshine and you're just like, oh my gosh, like I feel so good when I'm with them, or you hang out with people that are like a dark cloud.
Yeah.
And, suck the energy from you. So we are responding and ebbing and flowing like that all of the time. And, honestly, for me, at the end of the day, I just want to teach women more. I really want to empower them with the education so that they don't feel lost. That
is so cool. I can see first of all, I can see it in your eyes when you light up about it, but also it's similar like because I teach Pilates, and
Yeah.
I just love more people doing Pilates. It is the greatest full body exercise. You can make it as intense or as light as you need it to be. And you can do it anywhere. You don't need to even invest in equipment, right? So it's my thing. And so the more people who do it, it's like, I can't get bored because it's like, I can see the benefits in a different human body and like what it did for them. And one of our members recently, because the way I teach it is always like, ask yourself what else is possible from right now. If you can't take your legs over your head today, for whatever reason, like what else can you do? And like how that actually asking yourself that is like training your mind to do that when you're outside of the mat, right? And she said, thanks for always teaching us to stand up for ourselves and take priority in our time and do this because I had to do a difficult thing today. And I did it because of this class. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. It's amazing. Right. So I totally agree. Like it's hard to, it's like, the more that your business expands and the more lives you're affecting, it's almost like you're like, how can we do more? How can we get to more people? Because it will change a woman's life when they actually can feel like they're not crazy, when they have knowledge and information, and then what kind of changes do they make in their day, how that affects if they've got kids, like how that affects the kids in their life. If my mom wasn't told like, hey, that's just how your cycle is, like what would have been different in the household,
right.
Yeah,
exactly. And this is it. It's, all of these moments and everything you're talking about, these are like, they're the catalyst. They're like the pebble that creates the ripple, and it just continues to move forward. And so it's like you said, you could look at something like Pilates and movement and be like, oh, it's just exercise. No, that is like it's a tool, and it's what you choose to do with the tool and the ripple that you can create from that. Yeah. It's just the stimulus. So I love it. I'm here for all of it.
Okay, Jenn. So how can people follow you? What's the best place for them to go to get more information if they want to educate themselves more?
So there's a couple of different ways that they can access some awesome free info. They can listen to the podcast, the Simplicity Sessions. We've got, 100 and almost 70 episodes that are on there.
Congratulations. That is a lot. That's amazing.
Thanks. Yes, it is. And I have a YouTube channel as well. They can just check out Jenn Pike. And then Instagram, lots of info every single day. My name is spelt with 2 N's, so Jenn Pike. And then my website, www.jennpike.com. And if they're interested in they want to work with our team or run functional testing, we offer complimentary discovery calls just to hop on with one of our team advisors. Like, what is going on? Are we even the best fit for you? If not, who could we refer you out to? Mm-hmm. And, I find a lot of women, they literally are just looking for someone to hold the space and listen to them.
Yeah. 100%. Like, it's so true. And I can't wait. I hope that in like less than 10 years, we get to turn around and go, wow, it's like totally normal to talk about these things.
Oh, me too.
There's information out there. I just hope, because it's, I so believe in the potential of people. And I believe that every single person is on this planet to affect people's lives around them. And if you don't feel good, and you also think it's all in your head because everyone says you're fine, it holds you back from like fully finding your potential. So I'm just so grateful that you came and shared so much, like so many nuggets of information. But I always ask this question because I find that inspiration is amazing, but transformation is what I want for people. And so if they, what are your steps to, like, just 1 or 2, if you want to go for 3, that's fine. But like steps to being it till you see it, like what would be some action steps they can take right now?
The first thing that I would recommend for women to focus on is please try and keep your blood sugar stable. Don't go these massive periods of time without eating. If you're getting nauseous, dizzy, lightheaded, you can eat everything that's not pinned down. You need to check in with your blood sugar. Stable blood sugar is going to help to lead to supported adrenals, thyroid, body composition, and great sleep. The other thing that I would say to you is listen to your body's language. She's communicating with you all the time. If you're bloated and gassy, if you're not pooping, if you are having those symptoms, listen to what she's trying to tell you, ask for help. Your bowel movements every day, they're data. Your period every month, that is data. So your body holds a lot of wisdom. Tune into what she has and start to lead from there.
Oh my gosh. I think you're going to win on the most unique action steps anyone has given, but I really love these so much. I mean, I can't say it enough. And when Brad and I recap, which will be very interesting to hear all of Brad's insight on today's episode, but it's like, As someone who has done that, there is once you have that information, it's like you feel a little more unstoppable, and you definitely feel seen and understood, and you can go from there. So thank you for that. Thank you for being here, everyone. Please,
you're welcome.
Please do us a huge favor: screenshot this podcast, share it to your Instagram, tag Jenn Pike, tag myself. She's 2 N's. We have the link in the show notes below. Tag the B.E.I.T pod so that other people in your life can hear about this. Maybe you live somewhere where you don't feel comfortable telling your friends all about your cycle, but if you share this podcast, we can talk about it to them for you.
I want to hear about your cycle.
Yes, and she definitely does.
and I just want to say something quick on that before you go, when you're talking about, doing the recap with your husband. So I have 2 kids, a girl and a boy. My son knows just as much about the female body and cycles as my daughter, and that's on purpose, because part of the stigmatism and the shame and embarrassment ends when we stop excluding men and boys from the conversation as well. It's like, there's going to come a time in a boy's life where he's going to, you're either going to be around a woman or your girlfriend or whatever it is. And so you need to be able to understand what she's going through. And as I always say to my son, like, bud, you wouldn't even be here if it weren't for our bodies doing this. So you should be darn grateful.
So one of our listeners, she has 3 boys, and for sure she is very big on educating that. She's like, I don't care who you are married to, what their gender is, but you're going to be around women, and this is something you should know.
Exactly.
And it's really important. And it's, my husband and I are really open. And the other day I needed to do this test, and I was like, can you sign me up for this test? Right. And he's like, I had to answer some really personal questions. I'm like, I'm sure you knew the answers to them. It's not like I hide it from you.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's not like that's not how he was raised. I wasn't raised as an open thing. And so, we'll change we'll change the stigmatism by opening up. And so maybe have your significant other listen to this episode too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again. I can't wait to chat with you more, and for all that you do. It's just really incredible and amazing. And until next time, everyone, be it till you see it.
Thank you.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the B.E.I.T pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day. Be It Till You See It is a production of As the Crows Fly Media.
It's written, produced, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Kroll.
Kevin and Belle at Disenyo handle all of our audio editing and some social media content.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to our designer Jaira Mondal for creating all of our visuals, which you can't see because this is a podcast, and our digital producer Jay Pedroso for editing all the video each week so you can.
And to Meredith Kroll for keeping us all on point and on time.